Today's guests are building different kind of housing safety net, one that gives young professionals in Lagos breathing room. As co-founders of Ule Homes, they're helping renters secure their homes without the heavy upfront hit and helping landlords get paid on time every time. Ule pays rent directly to landlords, then lets tenants repay in manageable installments. Transparent terms, fast approval, and process designed for real life. Welcome to Beyond the Board, the show where we dive into the minds of founders and operators shaping Africa's future. I am Ala Umar, and guests today are Olumide Akinwumi and Chisom Okorie. Welcome to the board. It's great having you here this morning.
Thank you so much for having us here today.
It's a pleasure to be here.
So I'll start. When I had the first conversation with Chisom, this business module got me very excited. Paint the moment this problem became a personal problem. What did you see in Lagos rental market that made you think this needs a simpler, fairer path?
Thank you. I think one thing that made us feel like this was the problem was because originally we both did not grow up in Lagos. We grew up in different other parts of Nigeria, and we felt like things were relatively cheaper than it was in Lagos. When I came into Lagos, I had to score because, of course, the accommodation was a lot. I couldn't afford it. And so I had saved up some money and felt, okay, at this time, when it's up to this amount that the agent told me it was, I was going to go ahead and pay for it. But when it was time, the agent told me it was no longer that price. And it was probably like it was another 50%. And I'm like, where would I get that amount of money? How would I save up that amount of money? Fast forward a couple of years later, Chisom and I and our third co-founder also met. And surprisingly, all of us didn't necessarily go up in Lagos. And we felt like this has to be a problem. Not everybody must be able to afford these things seamlessly. So we decided that, okay, we love housing. I mean, I've had a lot of experience in real estate, also our co-founder as well. There must be a solution to this. Not everybody can just swallow this thing and then it's going to be easy for them. And then we decided that, okay, let's even make a post, let's do something, let's hear what people are saying. And then we got thousands and thousands and thousands of people who respond that, yes, this is a major problem, especially in Lagos. As time went by, we realized that it wasn't even just Lagosians that were facing this problem. People from different parts of the country were also a major problem because you had to pay at least 1 year. You might even have to pay up to 2 years of rent upfront. And then for salary earners, we're like, how are you going to get that money? Especially when you are just starting your career. Even for people that are not just starting their career, they have other things to do with money. So we felt this is a major problem. It's not easy to just jump that lump sum and then go and give it to somebody. So that was where the idea came from, because it was actually really personal to us. So I think Chisom also add anything. I don't know.
Yeah, so it has always been my dream to come to Lagos, right? But then hearing the amount that people needed to pay for apartments and all was a big struggle for me, right? And I mean, my landlord practically chased me out of my house because I couldn't afford to pay the rent. These are situations that many people face. Your landlord can just wake up and increase your rent and you have to pay or else you leave because that's waiting to take the apartment. We all met at the Nigerian University of Technology and Management, NUTM, doing our postgraduate program. And we expected to come up with a problem to solve. So we just all came together to say, this has to be the problem we need to solve. The three of us did our market analysis, our research. I mean, many people told us that we were going to fail from the start, right? People kept asking us what's unique about us. But it wasn't about what people were saying. It was about the real issues were. And the people that were currently facing these issues, right? What can we do to help them? Young professionals like ourselves, so what can we do to impact their lives? And then we started getting customers, treating their transactions. Since then, we've not looked back.
You found a problem, you've decided to solve it, you've sat down, you've completed that analysis, you knew there is a gap and you went for it. But during that time, was there anybody else in the Lagos doing something similar? Or how are people able to afford the rent? Was everybody just paying 1 year rent in advance?
Mm-hmm.
Or was there competitors?
Okay.
So
basically,
everybody,
right,
okay, go ahead.
Right. So I mean, people had We had companies trying to solve this problem, and people had different ways to get money, which was not very ideal, right? Because you needed to ask your family and friends for money. And these family and friends also had use for their own money, right? So you're inconveniencing other people just to pay for your rent, right? And not many people like that. In Nigeria, there's something called see finish, right? So it's a term that they use when over familiarity, that's the meaning, right? And then your steez is not as high as it should be. I mean, these are some of the terms I will use in Nigeria just to describe, oh, you're not comfortable by yourself. I mean, you should be able to afford your rent, basically, right? So that's kind of downgrading of people's financial status, and the rest just starts coming in, because you can't afford to pay your rent. People squat with families, but not many people want to do that. Squat with uncles, aunties, and the rest. It can be uncomfortable. These were some of the ways that people were surviving before we came on board, right, in the market. Well, I can tell you for a fact that the way they're thinking about the problem is not the same way we're thinking about it right now. We have to come up with solutions that helped make it easier for people to rent and also to own properties.
So in response to what you said about if there were actually people that were doing what we are currently doing and how people were surviving. Yes, Chisom said that you have to borrow money from your friend or you should just beg people to help with your rent. And which things that she's talking about there is like people look at you like you're beneath me for you to ask me for money for your rent. You must have a serious problem. That affects a lot of people's self-esteem. There are companies that are actually helping to pay people's rent upfront, but they're very specific. It had to be houses that they were like the property managers, not just any houses. But right now, what we do is any individual, as long as we're able to verify that your house is true and correct, you are true and correct, we can fund you. So our KYC processes are very strict. We don't just give out loans to anybody that says, oh, I need money. We need to verify that because, we are spreading our wings. So that even gives us, that means that we're really more open to attacks. So that's why we're very careful to make sure that we're doing our know your customer processes, our KYC processes, we are very strict with it. So yeah, that also helps us to be able to accommodate even more people.
So
Yeah.
what you're telling me, the competitors are mainly focusing on properties that they manage themselves, where
Exactly.
your model is basically any property a person is interested in.
Mhm.
Is that right?
Yes.
So how did you let people know? How do you convince people that this will work? Especially how were you able to convince landlord to trust you? And are they paid instantly? Landlord, is your deal just with the tenant, or the landlord is also involved somehow?
Yes, so we partner with property management companies and landlords as well, right? In answering your question, is that paid instantly? Yes, as far as the person qualifies, we disburse the landlord. So we ask for the landlord's details and also the KYC on the landlord, right? We have agents that just go around asking and just do KYC on the landlord, right? And if they certify that this landlord is actually real, we can go ahead to disburse. At the end of the day, what the landlord wants is his money, right? So the landlords are not really very difficult to convince. They just want to get their money paid to them as fast as possible. When we started, one way when we're doing market analysis was to see if there's a way we could eliminate agents in the market. Because in Nigeria, most times before you get an apartment, you would need to go through an agent. And that's extra expenses for people, right? So we looked at ways we could do that. But unfortunately, it proved to be very difficult. So what we did was partner with them. These agents in turn spread the gospel of Ule Homes to tenants. So they let them know that there's this organization, if you are struggling to pay your rent or you have the money, but you need to use the money for other things, this organization can help you pay your rent and you get to pay them on a monthly basis. So we've built an ecosystem around it. So we want a station where everybody wins. So everybody just has a share of something at the end of the day and just makes it progress that way. So I don't know if that answers your question or if Omolade wants to also add something to it.
It does.
Yeah.
It does answer the question. So you work in collaboration with landlords when you're looking for properties, or landlords make referrals to you for
Yeah,
people
exactly.
seeking help with their rent.
Yeah.
And then was the bank helping out people getting loans, for example? Is your criteria easier than the bank?
So, I mean, the banks say they give loans, but it's not accessible to anybody. Not anybody can just walk into a bank to get credit. Even if they give you, it won't be up to the 1 million naira or the 2 million naira that you want to use to pay your rent. right? And I mean, they will need to do the KYC and the rest, but their interest rate is also very high. If I need a house today in Nigeria, in Lagos, and I go to a landlord today, and I don't pay that money today, by tomorrow, the landlord has given the house to another person. A bank typically takes 1 week to 1 month to be able to disburse money to you. But we are very fast. When you apply today around 9 a.m., by 12, we'll be able to disburse to your landlord. So that quick turnaround time is a competitive advantage we have over the other commercial banks and other institutions. So that fast turnaround time, the interest rate as well, and anybody can just apply. We've decentralized the entire system that will make any salary earner or business owner just apply as far as they meet the KYC process with disburse to them. Yeah.
And what criteria do they need to pass, and how? It's a very fast window, right? You're talking about 3 hours where you will ensure that this individual will make the regular payments and you approve them. So what do you look for when people submit an application? And how do you make that fast?
Yes, so the first one we look for is their credit score. So we ask for their BVN. And we have partnership with CRC Credit Bureau in Nigeria. That just brings out the customer's information. When we see that, we know whether or not this customer is eligible. If the customer has a clean credit report, then we go to the next step. We are looking at the person's 6 months bank statements at the moment. We want to see consistent salary inflow. You say you work for company A, B, and C. We want to see that you earn salary from them for the last 6 months at least. When you pass that check, we'll then do the debt to income ratio analysis. Your salary is this, you earn this on a monthly basis, your rent is this amount, right? We'll now do the income analysis, right? In the Nigerian CBN has said the monthly repayment should not be more than 33.3%. So we ensure that when we are doing the analysis, your repayments will also not be more than that 33%. So these are some of the things that we check. We've had to reject customers just because of debt to income ratio analysis. Because if you're earning, say, 200,000 naira and your rent is, say, 3 million naira, that's not able to pay us back, right? So we just make the customers understand that. But if we have a calculator that calculates all this, so it's very fast, right? That makes us make decisions very fast. And when the customer checks all these, the next thing is just to pass it on to, the finance team. We trigger direct debit on the account. So even before we disburse, we speak to the bank, the APIs and the rest, and trigger it. And that's all it's right. The person gets the money, and then on a monthly basis, the person starts making a monthly payment.
Just taking it back a little bit, when you had the problem you're looking to solve and you decided to start this business, how were you able to secure the initial funding for the initial stages and getting people and paying people's rent?
It was. So the first they say is always the most difficult part. I don't think that we went to several places. We just bought in those offices at some point that I had to prove to you that it's going to work, even though people were saying that it wasn't going to work. Went to several financial institutions, several loan institutions, just to even, because they are doing what we look to do. So we expect that they will even have an idea, or even, okay, let's teach people how to study, let me just help them. But it was really difficult for us. We felt like nobody was going to take us seriously. And what we needed was just that one thing, one person to just believe in us. Finally, we got one person, one institution to believe in us. The institution is also more like a startup, but they believed in us, right? And our very first customer, they were the ones that funded it. It was also rather difficult because first, you have the money, but you also realize that they have to do KYC processes. And then, that was when we started realizing that this is actually a proper business. It's not somewhere that will just say, oh, this person needs something, so just give it to them. You have to actually go through different processes, ensure that there are boxes that they tick, and not just, oh, they said they are good people. No, it's not just that. We had to remove some form of emotions because we were carrying it as our baby at the beginning. So we had to remove it all. So when we got that one financial institution that was able to take a chance on us, and one customer that was willing to say, okay, these people are not fraud. And also, thankfully, that was when we're actually taking a lot of interviews, also posting. So I think that gave them a form of credibility that, okay, these people are not just here to take our money. And at the time, the business that we were running was the customer needed to make an equity contribution of 50%. It was difficult for us at the time. And then we had to reject a lot of people. Our very first customers, oh my God, you don't want to know how we danced that day. We were so excited that, oh my God, we actually just funded somebody's rent. That was how our journey at the beginning was.
I'm sure it was a very exciting time. But have like both of you, did you start any business before? Were you an entrepreneur, or was this when it started, when you were just focusing on a problem you're trying to solve?
Oh yeah, so interestingly, right? We spoke at a TEDx event last Saturday, the both of us, right? It's interesting where somebody grew up in a different part of the country and another person in a totally different part of the country. And then you have the same drive, the same energy, the same view of life. Just talking about our stories, you know that we've done a lot. Like even from the pictures could tell that we've done a lot of businesses. So this is not the first. But this is like the first that we are doing together. Typically, it's been like, oh, you are just running this business, having co-founders, and actually running the business together, like a proper startup. Yeah, we've done a lot of businesses separately.
We had one sustainability project that we did together, all three of us,
Yeah,
before
yeah.
this one.
Before this
Yeah.
Ule Homes.
business that you're working on right now, yeah?
Yeah. I just the three of us actually that did that as well.
And that sort of created the trust, and you're all knew that you had that drive and you can work together. So when you think about your top funnel, what's bringing people? Do they search on Google, for example, social referrals? Or you mentioned that there's also a state agent's relationship where they make referrals to you. What are the channels that you're currently utilizing?
Okay. So last year, right, when we were starting out, there's this tech guy. He's a tech reporter or tech influencer. Funny how we went to attend the Lagos Startup Week. Aziz was the one that introduced us. So Omalade did a video. The video really went viral. I think that was like the open door that Ule needed, right? So we got a lot of followers, a lot of comments, and people knew us through social media. The first few customers were through social media. SEO, John and the rest. But then the people that used our product said referring their friends and their colleagues to use us as well. So that referral bit started coming in, right? But as at today, we partner with companies, HRs and CEOs to provide this as an employee perk to their staff. We also get customers from companies. So far we've partnered with 28 companies, right? So with that, we get like lots of people applying. The channel is basically social media, HRs, organizations, referrals, landlords and agents.
How do you, once people on board and they are in your system, like how do you manage that relationship? Like, do you use a CRM for ticketing or manage rental and landlord interactions? And what metrics do you look for in the business and monitor? I'm talking about when people on board, what system do you use to monitor? What CRM that is there to manage rent, landlord interactions, and what metrics do you look for, in terms of operation in general? Paying you monthly. So you're maintaining that relationship, you're ensuring payments are coming in, you're responding to their inquiries, or you're supporting them throughout the process until that payment is completed.
Okay.
What system is currently in place to manage that relationship?
If we have a platform that I'm using to manage all of this. So right now, we have our tech, right? We started manually, so everything was basically manual, and then we just draw our insights, just use Google, from Google Form, Google Sheets, and then draw analysis from that. But now we have about 80% done with our own platform, and it should be live for the end of the year. And so that would help us and enable us to be able to draw more insights automatically and not manually.
Are you operating only in Lagos at the moment?
No, we're operating across all 36 states in Nigeria.
How are you utilizing social media today in terms of ads, engagement? Is there a community in place for you to bring in more leads? Is there any platform that you interact with to showcase what you've been doing and what you're working on? How are you planning to stay on top of the market? Having competitors is a good thing, but how do you ensure that when people are thinking about renting or buying a property, they will approach you first?
Okay. So yes, we do have a community of people, and we also have ambassadors that preach the gospel of Ule Homes. And aside that, we have people that work with us that their major role is sales, right? Their own is to tell people about Ule Homes and why they should use Ule Homes. And one way that we look at staying on top of the market is our efficiency. we've not raised any amount. Everything that I've been doing will be strapping. And so we are looking at, okay, since we have what we have and then the business is really sustainable on its own, we want to use all our resources, our funding to make sure that everybody's aware of us and then they see the reasons why, reasons why to use Ule Homes, which is efficiency, reduced interest rates. There is little to no churn rates. Our customers are always renewing their rent with us because obviously we will reward our customers because our customers that were initially on a 2.9% interest now receive as low as 1.7% interest rates. Still on top of the market as well. We also have our mortgage solution that's helping people that's helping people rent to own their apartment. Instead of just paying rent and leaving at the end of the day, you can actually rent to own the apartment or just have an apartment they want to buy. We pay up to the tune of 100 million naira and with an equity contribution of 10% from the customer. And also, aside that, we realize that Nigerians at the moment do not know about credit and building their credit scores or even their credit histories. And so it has been a major thing in our hearts to see that people that we feel qualify have very big credit scores. So it's also one thing that we are bringing to the market to help customers build their credit score and stay on track. Our partnership with the credit bureau in Nigeria has allowed us to be able to do at the moment. So I hope this answers your questions.
It does answer the question perfectly. And you were faced with the problem and you worked very hard to find that solution. So I think you've built an understanding of ensuring that this is the process. People need to increase to manage their credit score to be able to apply to us. This will help you eventually to acquire more clients, to bring in more people on board. Any business would have its own challenges. What's taking most of your time and what is challenging in this space in particular?
What's challenging in our space right now is default rates. And although right now Ule Homes has 0 default rates, we actually see that, okay, as we look to take more customers, there's a chance that not all of them would be 100% as our previous customers are doing, giving us 0 non-performing loans. So that's one thing that I feel like is it's a pain that we are looking at guiding. And a way that we have been guiding that is to also partner with insurance companies, such that if anything like that is going to happen at any time, we already have insurance that covers it. What takes most of our time right now as founders is looking for customers. Yes, we have financial institutions, but in Nigeria, a lot of people are still about why should I take a loan when my family members can just borrow money from them, or they'll give me the money, or they give me the money and I don't pay back, or why should I go ahead to take a loan? So we spend most of our time educating people about loans, about credit, and why it makes sense for you to use our platform. So that's what we spend our time doing, looking for more customers.
I mean, she had mentioned it. So we created a learning series recently with some of the key partners that we have. We call it Ule Learning Series, right? So this way people get to learn about credit, about rent financing, and even mortgage. We have another one coming up very soon on the 26th of this month, where somebody from Emory, from the government, will be coming to speak to people on how they can eventually rent to own properties. So also, I need to add, right, before now, we didn't used to run ads, right? Everything we've done so far has been organically, right? But because of how we are growing, we decided to try ads recently in the month of August. And then even before the middle of August, we had surpassed our targets for the month, right? So we were like, okay, this actually works, right? All we need to do is to just pedal down and just keep going, right? We figured that not many people know this solution exists. Right now, we've not raised at all. And one of the things that keeps us busy is speaking with investors, trying to convince them about this business, for them to believe in us. And we have potential investors that are willing to give us money, are willing to fund us. It's just that the money hasn't come yet, but it will come, definitely. So raising money, looking for customers, going for events as well, right? We go to many events, just letting people know that this is what we do. And we also get involved in many accelerator programs. So we've gotten money from grants and some competitions. These activities take most of our time. I will just keep pushing like that. We're actually very excited about the opportunity, right? We are going. This is 1 year in. We are just 1 year in the business. 1 year is a long time, but I mean, this is just to show you what we can achieve. I'm looking forward to the 12th of next year of 2026 of how far we would have come, with the way we are pushing and with some of the recognitions we're also getting.
And from the story, I can see you guys are moving pretty fast. I wish you all the best.
Thank you.
You're not just looking for investment and revenue, but you're also making an impact. You're helping people to navigate a system that they're not able to pay their rent, and you help them with that. You're also educating people around credit and around your service. I have enjoyed this conversation very much. Chisom and Omolade, thank you for going beyond the board with us. I'll leave links under the video so you guys can know more about the business. Thanks for listening to Beyond the Board. I am Ala. I'll see you next time.